Bry's Comics.
In this video, I want to do a little bit of a channel update, a shop update for Bry's Comics here. We're going to go over some insider information about the way comic books are shipped and pre-orders. I've been seeing a lot of pre-orders for things like the Spider-Boy, and I think it would just be some helpful information, just some background on how comics are shipped, how pre-orders works, and some things to be aware of that I think will be helpful to a lot of people. And lastly, I want to go over an incredible, amazing find that I found in a recent order of mine. So stay tuned to the end of the video for that. But before we hop too far into it, make sure you subscribe, comment, and like this video for your chance to win a free slab. We do a monthly giveaway here on the YouTube channel. And head over to bryscomics.com and sign up for the newsletter to be entered to win another free slab each and every month, and tons of new inventory constantly coming in. By the time you're watching this on Monday, if you watch this the day it comes out, there will be a whole new collection that will be posted to the website. Use code COLLECT10 for 10% off all in-stock items, and that code is always active. And then lastly, follow me on Whatnot, link in the description for $15 towards your first purchase on Whatnot if you're new to Whatnot. And if you're interested in selling on Whatnot, there's also a link in the description. If you use that link, you can sign up to be a seller on Whatnot as my referral. So Wednesday, April 26th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to do a fireside chat on Whatnot. Myself and another seller are going to be interviewed. It's a free resource for those that are interested in selling or current sellers. Really helpful tips. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of useful information. And Whatnot is a powerful selling platform. If you're serious about selling comics, it's definitely at least one of the platforms that you're going to want to have in your repertoire. So for the channel update, we recently had some staff turnover stuff here at Bry's Comics, and long story short, what we ended up with is 2 new employees, both of which have video editing experience. So I'm incredibly excited for the new employees and the potential that it brings to Bry's Comics. So you can expect, better videos, better content. I'll have more time to focus on content, and overall, I'm just incredibly excited to see how this all shakes out. Stay tuned for more formal introductions. If you come hang out at Whatnot, you'll probably get to meet them, and so yeah, I'm incredibly excited about that and the potential that it brings to Bry's Comics. So now I want to talk about pre-orders and give some background insider details about how comics are shipped and how pre-orders work, because I've seen a lot of those pre-sales for Spider-Boy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with pre-sales. I do pre-sales myself. I started my business with pre-sales on eBay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I think that it would be helpful to have a little bit more information for people so they know what they're getting into. So part of that has to do with the way that comic books are shipped. And so I recently got several orders shipped from Diamond. Diamond is the distributor for Image Comics, Boom Comics, I think a couple other minor things. Now Marvel Comics and IDW Comics are distributed by Penguin Random House, and Penguin does have a little bit better packaging, but it's still tough. You still get a lot of damages, at least I do with Penguin. And then Lunar is the distributor for DC Comics. So 3 different distributors for all, and it's still in a constant state of flux. They're changing who does what, and I'm sure more changes will come in the future. So the books that we're going to look at in this video are orders that came directly from Diamond. Okay, so the pre-orders for Spider-Boy, that we're seeing a lot of in social media and stuff, is going to come from Penguin Random House. So hopefully, Penguin is a little bit better shipping, and you'll have a little bit less problems with delivery. The best way to avoid damages with ordering new comic books is to order it by the pallet. When the books come on a pallet, there's less movement. They're shrink wrapped on a pallet. It's used by a forklift, and they're just set down, whereas if they come in a box like this size, if it's like 100 or 200 comics, anything less than a pallet is going to come in boxes like this, and these things are chucked around the country until they finally arrive at your comic book shop. It's kind of funny, I always wish I had a better way of doing animations and stuff. So here it is in a nutshell how comic books are distributed, okay? You got your box here from Diamond, you got your entry-level minimum wage worker at Diamond Comics, takes the stack of comics, throws them in this box, they slap that sucker together, put some tape on it, and drop kick that sucker across the country, to which point they come to the comic shop and we carefully open the box and we take the comics out of the box. I even put gloves on when I'm touching them so I don't want to get fingerprints on it, and we carefully look at that and put it in a bag and send it off to grading. So it's really ironic, the whole system of how this thing works, and let me show you a little more examples of what I'm talking about. All right, so this is some recent stuff that just came in. We have Free Comic Book Day stuff. Get a shot of this, some exciting stuff coming from Free Comic Book Day. So make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter at brycecomics.com. We got some Star Wars High Republic, a Stan Lee thing, Frazetta-verse, Free Comic Book Day. That looks really cool. Spidey and His Amazing Friends, Tom Holland's Fright Night, Umbrella Academy, the Requisite Spider-Man and Venom crossover, and a whole bunch more. There's still more stuff coming from the different distributors. So what I'm going to do this year for Free Comic Book Day is I'm going to do a 10-pack, I believe, and just have a 10-pack of Free Comic Book Day books that you can add to any order. And so it'll just come bagged and boarded. I always bag and board my Free Comic Book Day stuff. No stamps. I don't put any store stamps on them. And it'll come in a Gemini. So stay tuned for that. There's going to be limited quantities of that. But this is how they come. They come in one of these boxes from Diamond, and it's a similar setup for Penguin, a little bit better, like I said, for Penguin Random House. But you get the box, and you get this little divider that goes in the center of the stack of comics. So you get one stack on this side, one stack on this side. Depending on how thick the comics are, you can fit anywhere between 100 and 200 comics roughly in here. And these just shake and shift and ship across the country, and as you can see, even inside the box you can see color rub and ink in the corners, ink on the bottom. The books are pretty roughed up when they get here. Surprisingly, there's not more damages than there are. Every once in a while you'll get a really bad shipment and like the whole box will be trash. But it works surprisingly well for how chintzy and little the packaging is. But in a similar shipment to this, at the same time, I got my World Tree exclusives, and these are the 1 in 50 Zoo or Zoo variants, and all of them are damaged. I'm not sure if you can see, if it's not a good shot of it, I'll put it up on the screen, a shot. Every single one of these came damaged because there's no protection in the box. So this is something that's really stressful with offering pre-orders, and for this specific title, I didn't do any pre-orders for this. Sometimes I'll do, incentive pack pre-orders, and I gotta say, it was actually really nice to not be stressed out about damages, and now that I saw that all of the 1 in 50s were damaged, I'm glad that I didn't do pre-orders. So here's a little bit more information about how damages work for retailers. So for these, I submitted a damage request to Diamond, and they'll either fill it or they won't. We don't know up front. I don't know if they're gonna send more, and when they do send more, it's going to come in the same box. In fact, it's going to come in the same box, but it's just going to have these in it, so it's going to be even more likely for damages because they're bouncing around even more. Again, the more you order, I've found, the better the chance is for them not to come damaged, because a full box is a little bit safer than a quarter filled box. So if you have a pre-order, like for the Spider-Boy stuff or something like that, and the seller reaches out and says, hey, your copies came in damaged, well, first of all, the sellers should be ordering enough with a buffer to where they can still, have expected damages and still fill their order. So my advice for that that would be, if you're going to go with a pre-order item, order from a seller that has a lot of feedback, who's been doing this a long time. The bigger the shop, the better chance that their copies are going to come in not damaged because of the quantity being ordered. And so it's very likely that if they do say, you know, hey, I'm trying to get replacements, your order did come in damaged, it's likely that that is absolutely true, and give them some time to try to figure that out. So here's another example. These are the 1 in 10s for World Tree. This is what was sent out. This is just crazy miscut, and this happens, you know, this is an incentive cover from it. This made the cut, you know. So the point that I'm just trying to make here is that obviously there's not a whole lot of quality control or concern for these things when they're being shipped out. Just some background information about, you know, how this works. And this is an incentive of all things. I mean, I've had 1 in 500, 1 in 1,000s come like this, just thrown in the box, miscut, you name it. I've seen it. But on the plus side, one thing that happened that was incredibly exciting, this has never happened in my shop before, is this copy right here. These are the 1 in 100s for World Tree #1. It's a Nice House on the Lake homage. So it's a 1 in 100 incentive variant. What that means is that retailers have to order 100 copies of the regular covers to qualify for one of those. So a little more information in case you weren't aware of how that works. I ordered a retailer incentive for this, and the minimum order quantity for retailer incentive for image is 500 copies. So I ordered 500 of my store exclusive for World Tree #1, which, by the way, there are 13 copies left because I'm limiting it to 100 copies. And they're going to be individually numbered by CGC. So the way that works is my exclusive is sent directly to CGC. I actually have not seen them yet because they went directly to CGC. And CGC is going to pick out 100 9.8s or better. I told them to go ahead and try to find some 9.9s or 10s in there, but as you can see, the way they're shipped, it's unlikely that there's going to be any 9.9s or 10s the way these things are shipped. They will destroy the extra copies and encapsulate 100 9.8s or better. So there's still 13 copies of that left over at brycecomics.com on the pre-order. So when you order an exclusive, you qualify for the incentives associated with that. So World Tree #1 had a 1 in 100, a 1 in 75, a 1 in 50, a 1 in 25, and a 1 in 10. So I ordered 500. That means I get 5 1 in 100s, I get 6 1 in 75s, I get 10 1 in 50s, 20 1 in 25s, and 50 1 in 10s. And this bad boy is the 1 in 100, and when I was bagging and boarding them, because I'm going to send these off to grading, I picked this one up and I felt that it was a little bit thicker than the others, and my eyes got all wide, and sure enough, when I opened it up, it's a double cover. So what that means is that when this thing was going through the printer just picked up 2 covers, because this cover material, and this is another thing I wanted to mention about this particular series, is incredibly cheap. I mean, like, embarrassingly cheap cover material for this thing. It's like just like a weird paper material even for a comic book. So I wouldn't be surprised if more of these covers, whether it's the regular covers or the incentives for World Tree #1, might have more double covers because it's such cheap paper, it's possible the printer just picked it up. But it's also possible that this would be the only one, and that's what I have my fingers crossed for, is that this is a 1 of 1 for the 1 in 100, no less. And as you can see, beautiful condition. It looks like a shoe-in for a 9.8, and considering that I had so many damages with the other ones, I mean, it was just incredible luck that not only is it a double cover, but it's not hammered. How devastating would that be if it was a double cover and it showed up just completely crunched? Because if I order a replacement for it, they're not going to replace it with the double cover, they're going to replace it with the regular ones. The other thing I wanted to show about World Tree is that some of the covers were recalled because of the printer quality. And again, the paper, I'm sure it has something to do with the paper, is just embarrassingly cheap. So these are the 1 in 25s for World Tree #1. These are in the box that says to be destroyed. Okay, so the way that this works is, and I have these over here, just don't focus on the box. But the box says to be destroyed, and so these books unfortunately are going to be destroyed. And the way it works is Diamond reached out with an email and says, when you get these covers, destroy them. They're too dark. And as you can see on here, the covers are just really dark. This is the Bill Sienkiewicz cover. I think it looks okay, but they went back to another printing of this because they felt that it was too dark. And it's also the same thing for the cover A. So just some more background information how that works. Usually an email is sent that says just destroy the copies that have misprinted material, and then it's up to the retailer to destroy them. Or sometimes they will actually, depending on the misprint, actually recall them and say, here's a shipping label, send those suckers back to us. So these are going to be destroyed, and just a little bit more information about how that works. So I hope you enjoyed this video, just a little inside look on some background information, how things work, some exciting things in stores for BryceComics.com. Don't forget to follow us over on Whatnot for $1 starts on tons of slabs. By the time you're watching it, these will have all found new homes and have been sent out, but we're always having really fun, exciting shows over on Whatnot. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video for your chance to win a free slab, and head over to BryceComics.com and sign up for the newsletter to be entered to win a free slab each and every month and get first access to tons of new inventory. Look at how beautiful this is. Everything is organized. Finally have enough cooks in this kitchen to keep stuff straight. Always new stuff being added to BryceComics.com, and if you sign up for that newsletter, you get first access to those collections. Some really exciting mystery boxes on the way. Don't forget to check out that fireside chat if you're interested in selling on Whatnot, or if you're just interested in behind the scenes stuff about selling comics. Thank you as always for sticking with me to the end of the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bryce Comics.
Great stuff. The red record button.